Yeah?
That'll work.
Okay. All right. So, welcome to Digicord Radio, episode 3. This time featuring Miki Stopwatch, who surprisingly was on time today. I, once again, am Will the Dill. And, of course, there's Edubs. But the first thing I want to do in this podcast is order food. Because I'm hungry as fuck. So, as a true French Canadian, I am going to order a poutine and eat that later on in the podcast whenever it arrives. All right.
Fucking poutine.
Now you Edubs, you do your thing.
So yeah, the only thing I was gonna say is that it's kind of fucking weird that we talked about New Year's so much yesterday with Tangelo, but we didn't mention the he fucking died.
We'll get to
He
that.
fucking died.
We'll get to that because I wanted to save a lot of the New Year's for the Miki episode, of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think we're going to have to talk about New Year's anyways. I'm Miki Stopwatch, by
Right.
the way, for anyone listening who hasn't heard my voice. I run another podcast. I'm getting in my plug now, boys. This is how it's done. That does not yet have a name. I'm shocked you guys already
just
have
that
one.
podcast.
Yeah, it's this podcast. Not this
Yeah.
podcast, but this podcast.
Yeah, that one.
That one.
That one over there.
But I feel like I embodied the, I drank a little too much. My spirit became detached from my body, and I was somehow astral projecting into both digicord and yardcord simultaneously.
Voice chats, yeah.
Yeah.
On the same
It was
account.
pretty
Like it's not
incredible.
that you have two Discord accounts.
No, yeah, same account.
Like, yes. So I think somehow on New Year's you got so drunk that like your Discord account was drunk as well. And you were in both voice chats and you had some major echo going on.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if that was the cause of it, but
I had knocked down my audio interface, and it had come unplugged. So the microphone that was coming through was the microphone on my webcam, and the audio that was coming out was the audio from my TV, which was turned up across the room. So somehow I was managing to project both voice chats into each other.
it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But yeah, you got shit-faced, and I was there for the whole thing. So you've told me you don't remember.
I don't
much of
remember
it?
anything between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m.
Yeah. Okay, so you do remember how we played the drinking game?
Yeah, I remember all of that. I guess
Yeah.
I think I remember all of that.
Okay, so yeah, we played the drinking game, but point is, Miki got drunk really fast, probably too fast, through that drinking game. And
Yes, I recommend playing drinking games with beer and not tequila. Just healthy
Yeah.
advice for anyone out there.
and
Or
so
if you are
okay,
doing
Miki,
it with tequila, get some mixers.
here's the
although-
big thing you did while you were blackout and you don't remember. You were in the voice chat with all like 20 of us in our chord, and you like were just ranting about the Malazan book series non-stop, and we could
And how
not,
incredibly base they
and
are.
we could
how
not
they're,
stop
like, the
you.
best thing in the universe.
whatever we did, we could not stop you, and you were like speaking in the microphone like this.
Oh, I was really up in there, huh?
Yeah, and you are holding the books to the fucking camera, and you were like preaching them as if like a fucking religion.
Holy
And
shit.
it was pretty funny.
Okay. So explain to me the mechanics of this, because it was probably incoherent.
Mm-hmm.
Entirely
Oh, yeah.
incoherent.
Well, it was like Malazan is the best book series of all time. You guys don't understand. You will never understand. I hate you all. You don't fucking read the books. You know it's like the best thing ever. You know, that kind of thing.
Good. Yeah. Well, I've been trying to get Thundy and Yard to read them for like 2 years now.
How long are they? Are they like
They're super long.
3.25 million words. which is like 3 times the size of Lord of the Rings. The entire trilogy.
Jesus Christ. It's a fantasy
Yeah.
series?
It's a really fucking
Oh.
good one. But yeah.
Is there like a basic pitch you can make for it? Or?
So I want you to imagine your standard like boilerplate fantasy series, and then throw that all out the window, and think of all the stuff that people picked up from Tolkien, and get rid of all that, and then like the really interesting, difficult task of building a world with thousands of years of history that all comes into play in the present series as happening. It's like some mad lad saw what Tolkien had done and said, I can do 5 better than that.
Interesting.
That's not something I'm ever going to get to, though.
You bastard.
I'm just saying it how it is. I prefer reading nonfiction.
Well, see, I do love fiction, even though I haven't read an actual proper fiction book in quite a while. So, see, here's my problem with Lord of the Rings, because I actually do have a Lord of the Rings book set. I did try to get through it. My problem with Lord of the Rings, and this might be like a kind of spoiled thing, because having seen the movies, just like the fact that it's very much like a, I guess for lack of a better word, like white people type thing, like a old English type thing where we can't just start the book and have Frodo go on his adventure. We have to talk about Frodo's second removed cousin and like all the family gossip for like 20 fucking chapters before he actually does anything, like right at the beginning.
Yes.
And I just kind of didn't give a shit.
Okay.
So is there any weird padding like that in this series?
No, there's none of that weird padding in this series. This series will just
Okay.
get to the fucking kicker. But the reason that exists in Lord of the Rings is Lord of the Rings was written to create a mythology for people who lived in like bucolic England, right?
Right.
At like
right.
the time of the like before the Second World War.
The
Interwar.
interwar.
So like what Tolkien is trying to evoke there is the feeling of like living out in the British countryside specifically. And so that's kind of why that all is there, is it's supposed to be recognizable to people who have that experience. And so that's kind of what he's doing with the Shire. It becomes important again to set up like the denouement at the end of the series. But like, yeah, so like the idea of having this Shire as a contrast against like the outer world, I think would have been important to Tolkien and to what he was trying to do at the time. But like, yeah, you're right. It reads as like boring drivel to anybody who doesn't personally relate to that.
And I mean,
I kind of understand it culturally,
So, EWs, you've
like-
tried to read the books and you stopped, is what you're telling here?
Yeah, I got
I mean, also,
I got up to like a little bit like of the first book, and then I just kind of like was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
like
essentially.
Tolkien writes for like an audience of like the 1940s, so they were down with like way more. They wouldn't be so put off by like long descriptions of landscapes, which he does
Yeah.
quite often.
Well, see, it's not even the landscape stuff that bothers me so much. It's mostly just I don't know. Maybe that's just like my personal thing coming through because I just don't care about the family stuff and like all the gossip and drama because it's just not something that I've ever personally cared about that much.
yeah,
So
if there's any consolation, they do leave the Shire at whatever point, and then they never go back there again.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
So,
I mean, we can talk about Lord of the Rings, but I think what we should talk about if we talk about Lord of the Rings is the movies, because obviously they are the best movies ever made.
Godfather parts 1 and 2.
I don't know if they're the best movies ever made, but I definitely think that they are.
That just means you haven't
Like,
watched them
pretty
enough.
No, I've watched them all like 20
I've seen
times.
them. I've seen them a bunch though. Yeah, they're great. They're
Yeah,
all
they're
great.
phenomenal. But
Yeah,
no, they're not not as good as The
absolutely
Godfather.
crazy. Holy shit. I mean, no, it's probably not my favorite movie, but God, I love those movies so much. I've seen them like 60 times.
Oh yeah,
I do wish that there were more Hollywood productions that had the balls to kind of break out of the formulaic, here's your 2 hour, 30-minute blockbuster, or however long they usually are.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that they're just kind of extended and it's covering like a whole book series. I wish there was more stuff like that. And you know, you can also do that in a bad way where you're fucking Peter
I mean,
Jackson's
yeah,
King
it's
Kong.
called
but-
epics.
Yeah.
You should watch Lawrence of Arabia.
I've heard Lawrence of Arabia is pretty
That's
good.
a 4-hour movie, and it's really good.
Yeah.
I got
So-
nothing more to add about movies there. That's the
Yep,
extent
that's
of...
it. We're pretty.
Watch Deep Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea is amazing. It's so
I
stupid.
think
but love it.
none of us here are very much film buffs. So let's
watch
just stop
the
there.
1990 masterpiece Hackers.
Oh,
because
actually,
it's the
let's-
greatest movie ever made.
I mean, that's true. Hackers is great.
Pool on the roof, bro.
But I do have something more to say here about movies. Real quick, is that I am currently organizing a Pacific Rim group watch in digicord. So if anyone wants
You
to
are.
join,
It's super high.
if this episode comes out before the group watch, don't be shy. Just come on in and let's watch some giant robots punch some giant monsters.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Based.
Based. Very based.
Pacific Rim is one of the best films of all time as well. So okay, Miki.
All right.
So yeah, you talked about Maozan. That's basically all you did. Also, you were astral projecting in between 2 voice chats and 2 servers. Somehow.
I was bringing the lost factions of Digicord back together. I had to get into Ohio Nation too, but I don't think there was a voice chat going on. I could have connected. I could have brought all 3 back together for one
Yeah.
fateful night.
Miki, the anti-curse of Baal.
Yes, there we are. The curse of Miki. You will reconnect with those lost.
Yeah. Don't worry, the curse of Miki will become the blessing of Miki.
Yes.
In time.
There we are. I just have to learn how to harness it properly.
Correct. Okay. So, wait. Was there? Okay, yeah. Here's so before this podcast. Well, I mean, when the podcast started, I did order my food, but it's not there. It's gonna be there in a minute. But there was something on the menu called a like speaking of linking things together. There was something on the menu called a Michigan hot dog. And I asked Miki, "What's a Michigan hot dog?" Because you live in Michigan, right?
Yeah, and I assumed naturally that you were talking about a coney dog, because coney dogs are huge in Michigan. So I explained what a coney dog was, and apparently
Right.
this is not a coney dog. It is
No, apparently this is just a chili dog with cheese.
with cheese maybe. I don't know. I saw cheese on
With
most
Michigan
of the pictures I was looking.
sauce.
Yeah, with Michigan
yeah.
sauce, which essentially was an invention in New York by people who did come from Michigan, but it's
so-
entirely centered in New York.
But anyway, I've been staring at this Google page since then, and we see the Michigan dog, and then down there it says people also search for, of course, Coney Island dog.
Yep.
And then Montreal smoked meat. So here we are. We're back to me here.
Circled back around to Montreal.
Yep.
All
only
your
takes
troubles
2
come
Google
home to
searches.
roost in the end. Ugh.
Yep.
Having a
All right,
good
my food
third
sounds
inning
like
stretch.
it's coming. 0 minutes away. That usually means it's here in 2 minutes.
Hell yeah.
All right, go get your food. Me and Miki will fill time.
Well, Phil Time.
All
Okay.
right.
Phil Time from the Phil family.
God damn it.
He's the cousin of Phil Perry and Phil Collins.
All right. So Miki, did you have a hangover after last night?
Well,
New
I
Year's?
believe I ejected most of the alcohol from my system, so I had no
Yeah,
hangover
you
at
vomited.
all. Yeah. So
So you vomited all over your room, right?
Yes, I did vomit all over my room. I spent all of Friday cleaning in the morning, and then I went out to visit a friend who was in town from California.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so pretty
That
low chill day. I drank a lot of caffeine, and I just cleaned stuff.
All right.
that sound
food.
that sounds like it was hella fun.
Yes, it was therapeutic, I think. After the events of the last night. Yeah, and then I just went out, hung out with a friend. We played some chess, watched Queen's Gambit. I kind of wanted to, being on this podcast, I kind of wanted to talk about like the fact that I'm one of the few people who has been in like every generation of digicord, but I think we can wait until Will comes back with his food.
Yeah.
To really crack into that one. I think you'll get better, good stories out of Tangelo. You might get better stories out of, you'll for sure get better stories out of Wada because he has he's pretty good at structuring things on the fly, whereas I'm gonna have to like remember shit and think of the days back to when I spent a little bit too much time on digicord.
Yeah, we're very excited about the Wada episode. So
I'm here.
you're
Welcome
back?
back.
Okay. Did you get anything besides poutine?
Yeah, I got a Michigan dog, of course.
Oh yeah, you got a Michigan dog.
So you got gravy on fries, and then you got it's not really chili, but
Gravy
like
on
beef
fries.
meat sauce on a hot dog.
Yeah, something like that. We'll see.
A steamed hot dog with a steamed bun. And if they didn't steam the bun, then you're being gypped, and that's not a Michigan dog.
I'm sure it's going to
True.
be steamed. Okay. Yeah, it's steamed. Oh, it looks good.
My one of my mutual friends through my girlfriend is from Michigan. She made this thing. It was like breaded. It was like basically like a bunch of vegetables, and I think there was meat. I forgot what the fuck it was called though. It's put in like some kind of like breaded baked thing or whatever. Then you eat it, and it's apparently some type of Michigan type food. I was not really a huge fan of it. But
Vegetables and meat in
yeah.
like a breaded baked thing. I have no idea what that could be.
Okay, well there we go.
There's a lot of like regional specialties in Michigan. Like there's stuff that I haven't heard of. Around here, it's a lot about going out to like like a Coney Island restaurant. So essentially, Coney dogs.
what's
a bunch of Greek food. Some like diner staples. You can get breakfast there any time of the day. It's a good sort of like normal diner experience without like the massive chain thing going on. So
You know what's really weird about Michigan? Like when I think about Michigan, it's like obviously when I think about Michigan, I first think of the lake and not the state.
yeah.
And
Well, I mean, we got 5 of them.
but I
Four of them.
associate
Four
Lake
of them
Michigan.
technically within the state borders, I think. I'd have
Yeah,
to check.
but I
'cause one
associate
of-
Lake Michigan with the city of Chicago, which of course Chicago is in Illinois and not Michigan.
Well, Lake Michigan, for anyone that doesn't know geography, is the lake. Well, Chicago's on that lake, first of all, so that's a good reason to think of Chicago there. But is the lake that separates the main body of the Lower Peninsula of Michigan from Illinois, Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois.
Illinois.
It's Illinois. It's Illinois.
It's Illinois.
Fuck off,
No, it's not.
you Frenchies.
Stop
Listen,
trying to
it's
pronounce things properly. This is America. We
True.
only pronounce things incorrectly
Don't get
here.
you stepping now.
Says the guy who says anime.
Yes, anime.
Wait, do you say anime, Miki? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I say anime.
Oh my god.
Why? What's wrong with it? I say anime and manga, and then I pedantically correct people if they say mangas, and I let them know that manga is in itself plural.
True.
I mean,
All right, so Miki.
that's just the way it is. That's the way language works. Okay, that's what the words are. You know, if you have a problem with me saying that, go take it up with the Japanese.
All right, well, verdict on the Michigan dog. It's pretty good. I
Is it basically just a chili dog with like cheese and
yeah.
Okay.
So of course it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to fuck up a chili dog. I'm gonna be honest. It has to be some really
Yeah.
bad chili. Because I mean, hot dogs are good because hot dogs are pretty much, you know, they're mostly the same everywhere. Like you can get a gourmet hot dog, but like for the most part, hot dogs are the same everywhere.
Okay, so Miki, we
Yes.
established in the last episode that, well, the one that's not out yet, but we established that every episode we gotta have the guest's opinion on the Proto Man.
Have not heard a single song. There we are.
You haven't heard a single Proto Man
I
song?
have
Oh man,
not.
we're gonna have to fix that.
Jesus Christ.
Look, I
they're-
like haven't listened to music in. I haven't like gone out. This is technically incorrect because I did go out of my way to listen to some Susie and the Banshees albums yesterday. But like I don't think I've like sat down to like listen to any new album that isn't jazz in like 4 or 5 years, if we discount, you know,
Anime soundtracks.
I mean, I incidentally listen to anime soundtracks. It's not like I normally go out of my way to listen to anime soundtracks.
But you do go out of your way
Yeah.
to listen to the Utena soundtrack.
Well, I will always go out of my way to listen to the Utena soundtrack because it's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, we've I think I've mentioned this on pretty much on both episodes up until now, but yeah, I also have the same problem. But yeah, me and Will on the topic of music, me and Will did a group listen of Flood last night by Boris.
Yeah,
That was my first time listening to Flood. I still feel and it's the same. I think I would maybe have the same criticism about amplifier worship.
implying that Flood can
I-
be criticized.
I feel okay, so I understand exactly what it's going for, and it's super good in the way that it does it. I definitely think the tracks 2 through whatever the rest of them are preferable over the. I think the first one, I think the effect that they're going for is cool. I don't know if it's something that I
Dude,
was necessarily a big fan of. But-
listen, it's not pleasant to listen to, but that's what makes it so good.
Is that how that works?
Of course, that's how it
Miki,
works.
Is that how that works?
Yes.
I mean, I don't disagree. Pleasing to listen to doesn't always mean good, and pleasing to listen to doesn't mean
Oh
bad.
my
Or
God.
not pleasing to listen to doesn't mean bad.
Shake my head.
I don't fucking know.
Fucking...
Don't fucking ask me.
All right,
I
whatever.
I
Okay.
fucking listen to is jazz, and I rarely listen to new albums because I have nobody to talk about music with because I don't know fucking anyone who
That's-
listens to jazz. Okay, so
well,
that's about the way it goes. I don't fucking listen to music. Or I don't go out of my way to listen to new albums. I'll listen to one if I have like an hour and I really have nothing to do. But generally, I have a lot of people who watch anime, so I always can watch anime and at least say something
Anime.
about it and hope that somebody responds to it. Anime is a Japanese colloquialism. Anime is a
Dude,
Japanese
anime-
colloquialism. Anime is a Japanese colloquialism.
It's actually pretty base that you listen to jazz. I haven't gotten the chance to listen to a lot of proper jazz, but I do love jazz. So if you ever want to hit me up with some recommendations, I'm down.
Yeah, album I have
Um,
playing in my car all the time because it's a CD and I've just left it sitting in my car. John Coltrane, My Favorite Things. There we are. That's a recommendation
John
off the top of my head. I
Coltrane.
mean, obviously.
My favorite
Yeah.
things. Okay, I will listen to that pretty much as soon as this podcast is over.
Listen,
Um,
however,
Wait,
go back to
wait,
Flood.
no,
We
no,
go
wait,
back
wait.
to
Let me
Flood.
finish. Yeah, flood. Yeah, right. So yeah, pretty much. First track wasn't. It's cool. It's just not exactly my thing. The rest of it was fucking mind blowing. Really cool. I do wish that maybe Boris would move between the musical ideas just a little bit quicker because they're very cool. It's like a nice vibe and I do like it. But sometimes if we're like doing the same thing for like maybe like 10 minutes straight, like maybe it's a little bit too much.
Then you might like
Um,
you might be a fan of either like something like Drone Evil or something like I mean they have some albums that are not concept albums. So first of all there's that, like that's just like 10 songs that are like 3 minutes and it's really fast and it's, every song is very different, like Akuma no Uta or Noise or Pink.
yeah, I think I liked Akuma. I want to say I liked Akuma no Uta because I think I listened to that at some point.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah, I
definitely
will
did.
say overall, Flood was fucking really fucking cool,
The
and that
Flood Part
yeah.
3 is the peak of metal. I do not care what anyone will say to against that. N- Flood Part 3 is the peak of metal. It's just absolutely incredible. It's like
Is that the surface or is that the
it's the
drowning?
fucking it's the middle part. It's the storm. It's
Okay,
when
yeah, the
the guys
storm's
go
pretty cool. Yeah, that part was pretty good. And I really liked the just the surface part because I like how it's like these like really just fucking like just really chunky amps. Like you feel like you're listening to like some fucking Pantera or like some other like
yeah, yeah.
old fucking metal shit. But then at the same time, it's also just like chill.
Yeah.
It's like these
If
like
you if
really
you if
chunky
you
amps,
if you're a
but
big
it's like
fan of
chill.
Flood 2, then you will be a big fan of the third song in Drone Evil, which is the evil one who sobs or something like that.
All right.
It
I
that
mean,
one's like very much in the same vein.
the way Edubs described it sounds interesting because my only frame of reference for metal is like classic metal, so like
Oh
Pantera,
well,
Metallica,
yeah, yeah. No,
Megadeth,
Boris
Juice,
is not
that
like
sort
that at
of
all.
like '90s era. Well, I mean, the way he
Bor
described
Yeah,
the
it
guitars, but chill, sounds good to me.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
Boris
it's very
Boris
interesting.
is some kind of like post metal, doom metal thing, black metal. Is but
Yeah,
they've have gone through like a million genres over the years. But this album in particular is like post metal doom, and it's amazing.
Pog.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, probably like the second best piece of music ever written, in my opinion. I realized I don't have a fork to eat this poutine, so I'll be right back once again.
Okay.
Oh man, he's really putting the onus on us. I don't.
Yeah, he
I
really
mean,
is.
I don't know. Because I'm okay. Okay. So podcast theory I have. So there are a couple different types of people you want to have on podcasts, right? There are chill people
Right.
who are like your carbohydrates, right? If we're gonna make a food analogy,
Mm.
right? They're not incredibly exciting, but they're really important to keep the flow of the podcast going and to
Right.
like they just chime in occasionally. Occasionally they have an interesting story, but right, like their personality isn't what really like fires on the podcast, right? And there are people who are like the
Right.
spice, right? And that's people like Will. Okay, I think Will is one of those people. He's really energetic. He's really like determined to like figure out how to explain his thing to you, and he'll have a thing, and he has no idea how he's going to explain the thing, but he's going to be energetic and he's going to try and explain it.
Right.
Miki,
Yes.
when's the GX episode? It's next week, right?
Yeah, it's next week.
Okay, okay. No migraine this time, right?
Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see. I can't make
You
any.
seem to have like a migraine periodically on every Sunday.
It's almost like I've had migraines every day for months. But
Oh, that's really
I think it's
sad.
actually
Is that like a medical thing or how does that work?
okay. So, yes, it's a medical thing. So like it's probably one of two things because I got a brain scan thing, a CAT scan, and they didn't see anything up in my head, so it's probably fine. Essentially, what it is that it's either a status migraine, which is essentially you have a migraine and like the intensity of it ebbs and wanes, but you have a migraine like forever for like months. Okay.
Right.
Possibility 2, I get cluster headaches, and it doesn't seem like I get cluster headaches because then I'd have them for like, a relatively shorter period of time, but then I'd get them like every, there'd be like a period of months of like cluster headache attacks, and then there'd be some time where I wouldn't be getting cluster headaches, but they'd always come back. I'm pretty sure it's just a status migraine, and this will break and then it'll go away forever. But yeah, it's a thing. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, I'm very feels like everybody around me has weird medical stuff, and I feel like I'm an oddity in just how
You're just a
abnormally
normie.
healthy. I'm a complete physical normie. I never get sick. I never get headaches. I never get anything. Yeah, I'm just a normal, functional, healthy person. But the thing is that like when I do get headaches, I don't know how to handle myself because it just feels like everything's wrong like for the whole entire time that I have a headache. So any time that I like have off from any type of responsibility and I'm just trying to relax and I do happen to get like the rare headache, it just completely destroys my mood for the rest of the day. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that I also have a weird physical condition?
What's your weird physical condition, Will?
My bones are uh they've went too far, and so my articulations are fucked.
Oh, you have
And
Is
you have
that
hyperextension. Is that the word?
no, I don't know what it's called in English. It's a syndrome. It's like a hereditary syndrome. And yeah, so like my left elbow, I can't unbend it all the way,
Oh, ooh.
and my knees. This is the case for me, my sister, and my brother. Um, my knees are whenever we bend and unbend our knees, we can see the rotula come out of its socket and then come in back in its socket because our knees are like diagonally angled, and so the rotula has to come out the socket for us to bend our legs.
Well, where are you from historically again? Like, where's your family from historically?
Mostly here, French Canada, as D'Angelo would say.
No, no, well, no shit. I mean, like before that, back in the homeland, in the European place
Oh,
where.
I wouldn't know. All I know is that my grandma is German.
So you have no clue outside of that? You've
Well,
never looked into it at all?
they would be French and English, literally just French and English. It's Canada.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah.
but oh yeah. So Miki,
Yes.
you are an old guy in digicord.
Yeah. I think I might just be the second oldest continual poster after Tangelo. I don't know. There may be other people who can contest me, but I'm pretty sure the only one that has been in digicord for the entire time like I have is Tangelo.
What was your actual like first like canonical date that you posted?
Let me see here, because I think it's sometime in like August of 2018.
17.
Wait, no, 2017. Yeah. Because this is before the origin of the phrase "Gunts will do nothing."
Is there a specific origin for that phrase?
Yes.
Was there like one inciting incident
tell us
where
about
he didn't
that.
do anything?
Okay. So I have to explain. Yeah. Here it is, August of 2017. My first post in digicord. Yeah. So, okay. So have you heard the legend of the fights between Student of Ethereum and Econ?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it occurred during I think the final battle between those two. So essentially, Econ is should I just let it loose on yeah, fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, go ahead.
Econ socially is a bit of a fucking dipshit.
I completely 100% agree from my limited interaction.
No, we don't like Econ here.
I don't like Econ. I think he's all right.
I think some of his
But I think
his more prepared content and his like some of his takes are based. I think the way that he presents himself and talks to people is kind of garbage.
Yeah, I mean,
personally.
Econ is like I don't know. He feels in some ways he is like the personification of like A, but like the parts of A that only give a shit about anime, but are also like deeply pretentious and obnoxious. But
I feel like that's a very apt description.
yeah,
I mean, Econ is also very JP, to be honest, but
yeah, for sure. But like, yeah. So essentially, he's gonna be insensitive sometimes, and he's not going to be. It's not like he does it deliberately though. So like, if he was like deliberately being insensitive, that would be one thing. But like, he's just insensitive because I don't think he understands where other people's boundaries are very well. And like also there's this other side of it where like he's playing like this sort of like, inflammatory sort of role in discussions. And I understand that as a strategy. It's a good way to get people to interact with you if you're like in a forum environment, especially like, a pretty popular one. Like if you just say, yeah, I think such and such a show is good, you're not going to get any response. If you find the way to make that spicy and like also like shit on some popular show, you're always going to get a response. So like I think those two combined in Econ. And then a student of Ethereum at the time, trans women. So there's a lot of like, there's a lot of antagonism they've experienced. They were young, they're somewhat fragile. They get upset really easily. So what happens is that like, Econ will invariably say something like rude regarding her gender, or I'll say something insensitive. And we'll be like, Econ, that's pretty rude, bro. You really shouldn't say that. At least I would say that, but student would like try and fight it out with him. And that continually happened for like, I don't know, like a month and a half.
Was student trans? Was that part of it?
Yeah. She's I don't know if she's still she at this point, but she was a trans woman. I don't know what her current gender identity is, because that,
I'm
just gonna say that's what the state was at the time. I don't know what I haven't interacted with her in like 3 years, so I don't know where she is now. But I'm gonna say she out of respect, and hopefully we don't get canceled. Hopefully I don't get canceled. Yeah, but so they'd get into fights every so often, and like Econ would say something rambunctious during the fight. Student would get pretty mad at him, say some nasty things. He would say some nasty things back, but like he wasn't like actively being transphobic or weird or anything about it. Or I guess he was kind of weird about it because he literally just didn't understand, because this was 2017, 2018. I think awareness of like trans issues all across the internet was a lot less back then. I don't think it was advanced as it is now. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. So essentially, they got into fights every few months. And then in their last fight, the final one, before student finally got banned by Guns. There comes out the phrase. So like we're talking about it, and like we're like, yeah, you know what? This actually, there was a fight where things actually got a little out of hand between Guns and student. Guns, by the way, the original moderator of Digicord, was the only moderator from 2017 up to about I don't know,
Early 2020.
early 2020.
Yeah, early 2020. Yep.
Yeah. So,
By that time, there was also Dose of Demons, though.
Yes. So we finally were like, all right, this has gone too far. I think it was specifically Wada who jumped in at this point. Guns was gonna, take a look at the conversation and think about it and figure out what was happening. And in response to that, student just posts, "Guns will do nothing." And
Which he immediately did
he
something
did.
by
He
banning
did
her.
something. She was banned.
Yeah.
That next day. Yeah. So suddenly that became screen capped by a lot of people. And that became a meme that was posted, for like the next few months whenever Guns was brought up.
Yeah, I'm recalling this now because
Yeah.
the student just posted that, right? And then it was screenshotted.
Yes.
It was like Guns will do nothing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that was posted, essentially over like the next 5 or 10 years, or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, not 5 or 10. We're not quite that long.
We're
running,
approaching. Oh, this is the 4th year of Digicord at this point, so we're getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like this summer,
quite a tumultuous.
this summer we'll reach the
history.
first year, the no Digi anniversary, the
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah.
But I think that was like the one legit. I think from my memory, that was like the one legit drama in Digicord for like 2 years. I think the next big thing that happened was with Star, which I think was 2019 maybe, because that's Gen 2, when Yard and
Yeah.
Thundy and apparently you started lurking then, Will.
Was it really only early 2019 that they joined?
I think so. I think it was either early 19 or late 2018, because there was like a good 6 months of like a dead server between the Ohio Nation boys all leaving.
No, see, me and Edubs are Gen 3, so we're post Nyard and company.
Yeah, I joined August, I want to say 23rd or 14th or somewhere in that ballpark of August
Yeah,
2019.
and I was there like mid-July 2019.
Okay,
So
my
when
timeline's
I-
a little off then, because
Well,
Nyard, here's
yeah.
Nyard joining in July of 2018. So
Yeah.
So my timeline's
So-
a little off. So I guess that means that they all left in like January of 2018, January through like March.
Yeah. So, see, when I joined, there was still like the exodus of the Nyard people. It was still going on, like, and so people were still talking a little bit. All the Nyard people in Digicord,
Yes.
and so there was
Right.
this weird thing where I saw all of these people, and like suddenly all disappeared. I was like, well, okay. So
Okay.
I was only talking with my own generation. So like people like Edubs and Clayton and Kazuki at the time, of course, were talking a lot.
I guess I may
and-
not be that wrong, because here's Thunderer in 2018. Is Warp still
Yeah,
in
yeah.
is Warp in Digicord anymore? I can't look
But
up
yeah,
his,
what I'm
history.
saying is when I joined Digicord, I saw everyone like Tundi, you, and people like Anti and like Nyard a little bit, and
Yeah.
and then you all basically disappeared except like Comrade and Yard, who are still doing the group watches with me and Dark, and then I joined our chord later on, like towards the end of the year, and then I saw everyone. I was like, oh, that's where everyone is.
Yeah. Yeah, so essentially, yeah, endless joined in like June. So it's like from June through the end of that year where like Gen 2 starts joining.
Yeah.
So
And see, you weren't talking when I joined Miki, like at all. Not in Digicord.
No,
But we
no,
really
no.
only started talking to each other when I joined our chord, and I was like shilling Simpo Gear.
Yeah, I had so I don't know if this was a case, but I don't think I may not have had access to all the channels when you joined digicord, depending on when that is.
Right, there was still a paywall.
Yeah. So I had stopped pledging to Digi maybe in July or June of 2019. So I couldn't see any of the channels because I no longer had a I was no longer patroning him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially, I don't think I was able to like interact in Digicord, and then I left. The only time I left Digicord, like a few months later. Not to
Okay,
return.
can we talk about the paywall and how poorly managed that shit was, and how every time Digi made a fucking new channel in the server, every old patron that weren't pledging anymore could talk in that channel. And so every time there was a new channel, it was just like a huge melting pot of like everyone. Because of course it's a new channel, so everyone starts to get notifications too from it.
Yes.
And Digi never fixed that problem.
No,
She never did.
She never did. I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, Digi. Okay, Digi was never really interested in actually like building or managing a community. And so like every generation of Digicord, so like she never really did anything about that. And every generation of Digicord was like shaped by whatever few largest players went and joined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so actually before I joined Digicord, I had heard Digi say like multiple times that, well, I have a Discord server, but what happens in it is that people start being friends with each other and then they go away and make their own servers. So she was talking obviously about Ohio Nation and then Yardcord because it had happened twice before I joined.
Yes, it had happened twice. I mean, essentially what happened is that, each generation had people start drifting away from interacting
From
with
Digi.
Yeah, with Digi.
Yeah.
And what ended up, well, okay, so with WADA first and foremost, WADA essentially has a playbook on how to develop communities and how to like build a community from like his time working in the sobriety community.
You described it to me earlier as a spreadsheet.
Yeah. He has like a spreadsheet. He has it all charted out in his head. But like his time, so like he's built like gaming clubs in his city. He's built, he did a lot of work in the sobriety movement in his city. So he knows a ton about how to like cohere people together and bring them together into a community. And Gen 1 of Digicord really benefited from that, I think. Like we had a podcast. We had like 2 or 3 different podcasts going on.
Hence the podcasting voice channel, which is just
yes, that is why it is there and still there to this day. Because back in the day there were a good 2 or 3 podcasts that would go on in Digicord on like a weekly basis. So first of all, there was Wada and Gunt's
so I'm reviving a tradition here.
Content feeding the content machine, where like they would talk about all the content Digi had made in a week. There was an anime night podcast where, that ran for a couple weeks. Definitely not as long as feeding the content machine, where like everybody, whoever wanted to would hop on voice chat. We'd all watch an anime and then we'd have a podcast about it afterwards. Then there was Tony, who is, I think, the creator of the channel and Untitled Abridger. Who would do like the only way I can describe it is that he did guerrilla podcasts. He would hop in the podcasting channel and then he would just record a podcast for whoever wants to come and talk, however long they want to talk. Let me see if I got his channel correct. Yeah. Oh, you can find it within Untitled Abridger, but he's just Tony, Toni, on YouTube now. So he would do like his guerrilla podcast every once in a while. And
I wasn't aware of those podcasts at all.
yeah, they were all there from about, I don't know, like 1 or 2 months after. It feels like most of the people filtered into the server. They were game nights. There was a lot of shit. Digicord was popping in the beginning. I think more so than it has in like any specific era.
Are you telling me that something that Digi did started out extremely popularly and then, like, over time got less popular due to controversy?
Due to
Is that what
controversy
you're
and
saying?
neglect on
Well,
her
I
part.
mean, neglect for sure. I
Yeah.
think everybody. So what happened is that the wave of like the most frequent commenters all left for Ohio Nation at a certain point. Essentially it was just Gunts who stayed behind, Gunts and Tangelo, who were still in Ohio Nation and Digicord. Yeah. So essentially the crewmen for Ohio Nation started. Everybody who was like working on those podcasts and all that stuff left for Ohio Nation and did not come back.
So here's the shift that happened over the years. Is that all those podcasts you talked about here were basically about Digicord as it was at the time. So of course a lot of anime and also Digi content was fairly important.
Yes.
And so over time, as people slowly shift away from Digi and slowly become alienated from her and her content, now the podcasts are back, but they're about the people of the server.
Yeah, they're
and
about
not-
the communities
not Digi.
themselves.
Yeah.
Like, so you have a podcast now, and this one, which is, I think,
Yeah,
hopefully,
I didn't know
hopefully
I was unconsciously reviving a tradition here.
you are in fact reviving a tradition. I have a podcast now, and I'm running, essentially, I think I have mostly guests from Digicord Gen 1 and 2. So I've had Tangelo and Wada, and their episodes got lost.
Yeah.
And the numbering
Deleted them.
remains in my podcast as a sort of memory of what could have been, because there were like 3 or 4 really great episodes in there.
I seen the one on the
So-
Gundam Unicorn was amazing.
It was great. I
Um,
mean, I literally just let Nyard go. It was beautiful. I got carried for an episode,
Based.
which is great because I'm not exactly a person that can carry a conversation, I think.
Especially not on Gundam, as I have judged in the episode on Giant Robo and Thunderbolt Fantasy, where you're all, for some reason, start talking about Gundam and know absolutely nothing about it.
None of us know
was-
anything about Gundam.
It was the most frustrating thing ever.
I think we all
So by the
look,
way,
we all acknowledge that we know nothing about Gundam in that podcast, though.
Yet you still kept going for like 15 minutes.
I'm not responsible for being on a podcast with Tang and veering off into a tangent. Okay?
Yeah.
So by the way, I wanted to throw something out there that I was sitting here smoking my bong and I got high and then I remembered something that I hadn't thought about in quite a while. So Miki, do you remember like the first real interaction you ever had with me on Discord?
Is that the one where
in
where I
Digicord?
blocked you?
Yeah.
I think it might have been the one where you blocked me. So here, look, I went back and I pulled it up. So here, I'm just gonna post the little bit that I just think is funny. We don't have to go through the rest of the conversation. I just thought that this particular little bit was funny. Because it was a little bit before I had politically awakened to what I am now, and I was a very different person at the time.
Go-
But
You guys read
I-
your lines.
so no. It's fine. Miki doesn't have to do that. I'll just do it because I think it's really funny.
Wait, where does it start?
just
Where does it start?
Look, it has your name on it. Here, look. I'll go through it. So what I posted, and this is so cringe in retrospect, but it's so funny because of Miki's response. So it was what is this? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August 25th of 2019 in political in the political discussion, I posted, Antifa is a bunch of LARPing college students with nothing better to do than cover up and go be thugs. It's an excuse for violence. And the next line was something else that I was getting onto. But essentially, Miki's response, the first thing that he says is ZZZ, you really enjoy sucking that fascist cock. If you believe that, you're so cucked, it's impossible. Which it's really funny that we're on this podcast having this type of discussion now, because it's just so funny that you just fucking went so hard on me. And in all fairness, I think later on you said that you like felt bad about it and you were like you were going too ham because we had a like further discussion after that. But it's just really funny that that's the first interaction that we had.
I don't even remember what's my first interaction with Miki. It was probably about Symphogear and Utena.
Oh, was that really our first
I
interaction?
don't know.
Because I'm seeing
the likeliness of that is quite high.
Let's
be honest.
maybe my first interaction with you. And this is let's see here. From August of 2019. E-Dubs has the energy of a young lad with like less than 200 anime watched. So that's from
that's you who said that, Miki?
08/17/2019. There we are. Me doing my normal memes of like someone hasn't watched enough anime.
You're gatekeeping.
Oh yeah, that was the very first one, but this one was like one of the other ones. It was like one of the very first ones.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I was Jesus Christ, I don't know. I was angry on the internet back then.
Yeah, you were like really.
Were you jumping on the bandwagon of our core people? Or like, fuck digicord and everyone there. They're all
no, it wasn't even like fuck digicord, because like I had that sort of like antagonistic sort of expression on like every server I've been in since like I don't know, probably from about...
You know what? Yeah, I've seen you being negative on our court as well.
Probably from about 2017 to 2020 to like early this year. Like I don't know, man. Sometimes
I just... this year? It's a new year, bro.
Okay, last year. Okay, 2020. I don't know. Sometimes I just see an opportunity to be savage, and there's like... So when I said that Econ was like born out of the negative parts of A... Like, I was also one of the people that was growing up on the internet around that time. I'm like 26 now. So, essentially, I have the experience of being in forums and on 4chan in like between like 2008 and 2011. And like... I don't know, man. There was a lot of like the dominant rhetoric is just like going for the sick burn and being savage on people.
Yeah.
And like
being
a lot
based and red pilled.
Yeah,
like
and
Ghost.
being a lot of like cred checking, which like is not healthy for actual discussion at this point.
Yeah, it's just gatekeeping and it's toxic.
Yeah. It's really toxic, and like the problem is like that's so baked into my head in like forums or chats or any of that shit that like sometimes it just sort of happens.
See, I got into 4chan in 2017 and then joined Digicord in 2019, and so all of that attitude was still very fresh in me, and I was able to adapt to how I wanted to the environment of these servers really quickly. And at first I was like a quote unquote based and red pill guy, but of course
I haven't been on 4chan terribly much. Most of what I've done was I went there, I would say probably between 2014 and 15. I was an A reader, and then I got just really sick of everyone's attitude on A. And then so I moved on to I started reading V, which I've been reading V just because it's really hard to take seriously. There's just so much shit on V.
Booba.
But it's also really It's also really funny. So I always read V. It's perfect for like going to the restroom or something. Um, and then um, and then I started reading R9K, which wasn't a serious thing. I wasn't like engaging with it. It was mostly from the perspective of like
What's R9K actually?
um,
Look, I mean, that's just like
R9K.
the perspective of your average R9K bro. Is like there is a lot of
Yeah,
irony.
yeah, R9K. So if you don't know what R9K is, well, R9K is Robot 9000. It started out as a experimental board where they have a bot essentially that has it has every post recorded in its program that's ever been made. And what it essentially does is it doesn't allow you to make any identical posts ever.
Okay.
So but it's anybody. So everything said is original, quote unquote. Um, and you're not supposed to just throw a bunch of random bullshit to let you say the same thing, although people do that. The threads range from novel, like something that's a lot of people do on R9K is like say a word that no one's ever said. So then people say words and you're supposed to be like surprised if like a really common one shows up or something like that.
All
Um,
right. All right.
but it's also a lot of incel shit. So it's just super incel. It's way more incel than most of I would say even the rest of 4chan. It's way more incel.
Yes.
And it's basically people just like uh that's it. I'm tired of real women. Is there some blood sacrifice I can make that'll take me to an anime realm? Like that kind of level of posts. Um, so I mostly just read it because it was just a curiosity. Um, and then I read Pull for a little bit, which was, you know, whatever. And then yeah, I mostly just read V now. But so yeah, that's been my experience with 4chan. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was a big A guy. I was a big video games general guy. I was a big.
How is VG? I've never been there. I've heard mixed
I mean,
things.
I've only been on Fire Emblem threads really.
Fire Emblem
Yeah.
threads on Vita, they're fucking idiots.
Yeah,
All right, all
totally.
right.
No,
You're gonna if we're gonna travel back in time to when Miki started posting a lot in Digicord, it was about Fire Emblem. I was trying to get people to play the original Kaga games,
based.
which are where it's at. Um, here's the plug. If you have not played a Kaga game, go back and play Genealogy of the Holy War. It is the most accessible one. It is one that will not make you hate yourself. That and like New Mystery, like teleport yourself back into a time when like the strategy RPG didn't exist. And like think of this as someone essentially making the rules for the genre on the fly. And you will
Sorry.
have a good time with every Kaga game.
I mean, sure. Okay. Okay. Fire Emblem 4,
Miki, did you?
Genealogy of the Holy War. It's really good. But I just remembered. I just remembered that one time. Me and my friend booted up a Tracia, like an actual copy of Tracia, but it was like an old like Chinese game, and
Oh
it had
no.
like translation like put in the fucking disc or cassette. I don't even know, but we spoofed the game, and it was so poorly translated or like badly like coded. You
The fucking
on the first level.
Leaf. Okay. So
Hold on, I have to finish this.
yeah, go
On
ahead.
first level, you go to a house, you open the house, and this lady's like, wood, kill, and she gives you an item, but that's what she said. She's like, wood, kill. I was like, what? And every dialogue in the game was like this.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
which one is this for?
Thracia,
Five.
five. Thracia is five.
Oh, okay.
Genealogy of the Holy War is 4. That one had a pretty good translation as of like 2015 or 16. Thracia didn't get a good translation until last year, like early last year. There was like a mistranslation where like, okay, so Leaf is supposed to say everyone must escape before me. To clue you into the fact that if you have Leaf escape, the chapter ends. Any units left on the map will be like captured, and you won't have access to them anymore.
Right.
I don't remember the actual line, but it's something like that. But it was translated for years of like, quick, I need to escape. Like, and it was like the exact opposite. It was like, it was something like, well, you better make sure I escape first or something. I don't fucking remember. But like, yeah. So essentially it gave you the opposite signpost of what you fucking needed to do, which was have Leaf escape last, have all your other units escape first. Otherwise, when Leaf escapes, the chapter ends, you lose literally all your units, and then you have to start the next map with just Leaf.
Leaf.
Um,
And good luck.
And
Administration
Finn.
is really hard.
And you get Finn and Safi.
like, yeah, my only experience with Fire Emblem was recently. Recently, I tried to get into the first Tellius game. I haven't played any other
Path
ones, but
of
that was the one.
Rad.
Path of
Yeah, Path of Rad.
Radiance.
And that was pretty fun. I only got up to, well, I say only. I got through most of the game. I got like, I want to say like probably halfway through the third arc, and
Do you know what the boss was on that map?
it's the dragon bitch, the white one.
Oh, so this is like
Okay. With the
chapter 25?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in that.
Really
somewhere in
towards
that
the end,
ballpark.
yeah. In the
Yeah.
big castle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
And yeah, that was pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. I was really pleasantly surprised. Fire Emblem is fucking dope. It's really cool. The only thing that sucks about that one in particular is that and also the big meme that happened during my run that was essentially that I put Vantage on Soren and I gave him a bunch of dumb bullshit and bonus XP, and it was really funny because I would basically just have my whole entire other group of guys on like one side of the map, and then I'd just send him into the middle of like all these fucking dudes.
That's usually
and
how Fire
he-
Emblem goes.
Yeah.
Every single like turn, he would just nuke like 35 guys in a row because they would all be in
Yeah.
range,
Yep.
and he would just fucking one shot them. So that was fun.
Yeah.
The unfortunate issue is that the fucking Dolphin emulator. That game is just
You
apparently
can't
kind of
can't
a bitch to
emulate Path of Radiance. It's a known issue.
Yeah, like I was able to save. I was able to like get through it, but that mission in particular, I think the end game missions are just like really long, and that mission is just too long to go without a crash.
Yeah.
And also, if you save state into it, it still crashes.
So you never played Radiant Dawn afterwards? You just stopped there. So
No, I've just stopped because I'm hoping I can figure out a way to get around it at some
buy a
point. but-
GameCube. I'll send you the game. I have it.
Dude,
That's not true, actually. I have Radiant Dawn. Sorry, I don't have.
I
Path of
still have
Radiance.
Path of Radiance and Radiant
Yep.
Dawn.
dude, you have no idea how much I fucking hate myself because I sold. There were three that I know of. There were three GameCube games I have. I had Melee. Melee's always been super expensive now.
Yeah, I know where this is
I
going.
had the fucking Zoids game, which the Zoids game is a game that nobody fucking had. The Zoids game. If you look at it now, then it's super fucking expensive now. And also, I had Path of Radiance.
Oh,
and
no.
like a dumb little fucking kid that I was, there was something else I wanted, so I sold it at GameStop for like 50 cents or whatever the fuck it was. And yeah. So
And now like a very good condition will sell for like $150.
Yeah.
yeah. So just get fucked me.
I still have it. I've been holding on to it because I fucking love Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
It's
Actually, I think my favorite is. It's either one of those three. It's either Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, or Echoes. I kind of alternate between those three.
wait,
however I'm
Will.
feeling.
Will, have you played Tearing Saga or Barrack Saga yet?
Are those different games?
Okay. So after he left Intelligent Systems in 1998, after Thracia comes out, Shozo Kaga goes on to start a new series that is a spiritual sequel to Fire Emblem. Essentially, him releasing this series is what opens up the spiritual sequel in Japanese copyright law. In this series starts. So these games are essentially Fire Emblem games.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
But they are released under the title Tearing Saga, because originally it was Emblem Saga, and that was considered to be a little bit too mistakable for Fire Emblem. So he gets sued while it's basically in production. He has to change the name. He can't have Intelligent Systems has the name Pegasus Knight copyrighted, so he can't use the name Pegasus Knight. He can't call his game Emblem Saga, but he is able to release the game under the name Tearing Saga. So he releases essentially 2 games with the company under. So his production company Tiernanog, or his development company Tiernanog, in collaboration with the Japanese software company. I need to just look this up because they're the ones who do TRPG Maker. Or wait, no, SRPG Maker. I'm just looking for the name.
But yeah, those games. Yeah, I did heard of them. I just didn't know what they were called.
Yeah.
I had a friend that got me into Fire Emblem was really, really big into all that lore and
they are
production side of things.
They're fucking incredible. I think so. Like Tearing Saga is like, how do I explain this? It's like Sacred Stones, where you actually got to play both routes in one playthrough, and like intermixed the like actual playthrough of each route with each other. You can transfer units from one route to the other. You can, send gold items, etc. between each route, but like essentially you have 2 lords that you are controlling 2 different parties along 2 different story routes, at the same time up until endgame. And it's a fucking like, it's easy. It's like relatively easy. It's about as easy as Genealogy of the Holy War. But like, it's a really interesting game mechanically, like a pretty pure expression of what that sort of Fire Emblem gameplay could be. There's a little bit of like Kaga, like read the guide bullshit. In terms of like, if you want to get the best stuff, if you want to like maximize your run, you might want to look up a guide to see what you can get in what chapter. But like, it's not particularly more so than like, what was I thinking of? Oh yeah. It's not particularly more so than like Radiant Dawn with all the hidden items that it has, right?
Right.
With the exception of like, if there's not a guide out there, I'll fucking write one up after I get off now. But like, just message me on Discord if you want to play the game, and I'll give you the rundown on what unit you want to send onto each route without spoilers. Because depending on what unit you send where, you can get different things. You can get different supports.
Speaking of hidden things, in Radiant Dawn, but this time Path of Radiance, I assume E-dubs that you did not find Stefan in your playthrough.
Wait, I'm gonna see who he was.
Green-haired swordmaster who lives out in the desert.
Yeah. So to find Stefan, it's in one of the desert maps. You just gotta send a unit like in the corner of the map.
You need to send one of your 2 Laguz units to that one specific tile.
It's gotta be a Laguz, yeah.
Yeah.
And on one tile of the map, and then he'll pop out of the sand and join your team.
Holy shit!
No,
I don't think I did get Stefan.
Yeah. Well, nobody gets Stefan.
He gives you an occult scroll, which is pretty fucking good.
He gives you an occult scroll? Wait, really? Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, he does in a base conversation.
That's insane. Yeah, no, with that map, I think if I recall correctly, because I was looking at one of those bonus XP guides. I think what I did was I had Soren. I basically just used Soren so that I could get the bonus XP, and then I basically suicide ran him to go kill the boss and end the map.
Yep.
Super fast. So.
Yeah. It's a bit.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a suicide run because he didn't die. He fucked everyone up, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not something that you're likely going to find if you don't know about it, but it's there.
All right, so
Yeah.
that's,
Anyways, I was gonna
Fire Emblem.
plug Barrack Saga real quick if we're leaving Fire Emblem. Barrack Saga finally got a good fucking translation. Just I think early this year, or early last year. Now.
Early this year, damn, that's like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Literally at midnight on New Year's. No, like last year. So essentially, it's the game where Kaga like broke all the rules to make like the best iteration of Fire Emblem with the most interesting mechanics and gameplay, like peak gameplay for the series in a way that isn't in either New Mystery or Thracia, if that means anything to anyone, or Conquest for that matter. Essentially, every different weapon type is interesting, has its own unique thing going on. So like mounts, for instance, you can buy horses and then equip them to characters. So like the fucking like mount disparity of like, if you are in a mountain class, you are just better for the entire game. Unless you're actually a terrible unit. But those units would be irredeemable regardless of whether or not they're in mounts. Essentially that's solved because you can just buy people mounts.
I always thought that was weird, that like mounts are just so predetermined. I guess it makes sense for like what Fire Emblem's going for, where every character is just very specific and and how they are. So like the mounted units are the mounted dudes and the non-mounted are not. But I always was like thinking like it's kind of weird that that's just something that would be so obvious to customize.
Yeah.
And just make.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is that like if you look at the early Fire Emblem games, a lot of it is that like, okay, so units aren't customizable because like part of the units thing is, they fill this very specific niche in your team. This starts going away around like Fire Emblem 7, Fire Emblem 8, Fire Emblem 9. And essentially it's gone by the time you get to like Fire Emblem 9. Like, it's up to your preferences as to what combat unit you actually want to use because it doesn't really matter. I guess we could say it goes away in like Fire Emblem 7 and 8. But like if you look at the older games, there are like tons of like what you'd call like a replacement unit. So, you'd get paladins, and then later in the game, you'd get more paladins. In case you lost your paladin, they'd have slightly lesser stats, but, they'd still, like, fill the same effective niche. But, like, as we get later on, like, the amount of, like, utility characters bring, so, like, dancers, people with high staff ranks, stuff like, thieves being able to steal gold in FE4 or being able to steal items in FE5, being able to capture units, having like interesting like personal weapons out of the blue, like that starts kind of going away. And suddenly the utility is like, do you have staffs? So like if you have staffs, you have one set of utility, and everyone that can use staffs, whether it's on promotion or before that, kind of fills that same niche. Like the only like real niche, and then everyone else is like a combat unit, and the only real niche that remains is your dancer.
Right.
So like it's pretty interesting that sort of happened. And then you get reclassing in Fire Emblem 11, the remake of Fire Emblem 1, Shadow Dragon. And essentially just the fact that you'd have characters that fill a specific niche goes away forever in the main series.
I see.
Which is something that Kaga's actually kept up in Tearing Saga and Barrack Saga, and in his like Dojin game that he released shit, maybe in 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, called Visteria Saga.
All right. Now I hate Fire Emblem. There's too much Fire Emblem in this podcast.
So that actually, so if we were going to just take that somewhere more general, the two main things that I was thinking about during that conversation was one, the GameCube had a really sick aesthetic, just in general. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that's
I
a
mean,
true fact.
obviously, since it had Zelda the Wind Waker.
Yeah, one
Bring
of
back
one of the
consoles with
one
actual
of
color.
the best Zelda games.
Yeah.
Wind Waker. I'll fight anyone that is wants to defend Ocarina of Time. Wind Waker is better. I will accept Majora's
Nobody likes.
Mask.
Ida's favorite is fucking Twilight Princess.
That's
Yeah.
fucking weird, but
My favorite is
Why does everyone
Majora's
hate that game?
Mask.
That game is
I
based.
don't actually.
I'm not just
no,
saying
I
that.
don't actually hate
yeah.
Twilight Princess. It's interesting. It's just not as cool as Wind Waker. And I played on the GameCube
Now-
where you had to fucking sail everywhere.
No, I know. I played. That was my era too. I played the fuck out of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and Wind Waker is definitely based. I never understand all the hate that game gets. The Twilight Princess just is fucking aesthetically amazing. Honestly, it kind of overrides every other thing that is kind of maybe possibly an issue with that game. That's just my opinion.
You got the waifu in there.
The waifu is there, but that's not coloring my decision, I promise. But anyway,
So Miki,
fuck off, Will.
you
Quit
were
making
you
me
were
lose my train
talking
of
about
thought.
Fire Emblem in the digicord all those years ago.
Well, I was. That was one of the few things
wait,
I
wait,
cared
no, I got-
about. That was my unending war against the internet, getting people to play the older Fire Emblem games and getting people to watch Utena. I had two unending wars against the internet. One of these things has mostly succeeded. The other one, I gave up on. I've never...
I promise I'll get past episode 2 of Utena at some point.
That's not the one I gave up on. I gave up on trying to get people to play like Fire Emblem 4. I mean, I mostly think that's the most accessible of the old Fire Emblem games. New Mystery has like arcade, like super archaic game design. I can understand people not getting into that.
Genealogy
Sorry.
is the one with Marth, right?
Sorry, I said New
No,
Mystery.
no.
No, I meant
Genealogy is with
Mystery of the
Sigurd.
Emblem. Yeah. The Genealogy of the Holy War does not have Marth. It has Sigurd, and it takes place in Yggdrasil and not on Arcanea. But anyways, I've given up on that war. It's never going to happen. I'm going to keep plugging Genealogy of the Holy War where it's relevant, but like it's not a war I have to make with the internet. But I still have to get people to watch Utena, so... Fuck Fire
the only
Emblem,
thing that
watch Utena. It's the greatest
True.
anime
I'm
ever
gonna
made.
watch it.
It's the
I-
greatest
I
anime
will-
that will ever be made. It is less anime than Symphogear, but it's a better show.
Incorrect.
No, it's not true.
All right.
Listen, my anime is better than your anime.
No,
Miki.
my anime is better than your anime.
Listen, my anime takes from your anime and all those other anime and make all of them better.
Yeah, but all those other anime did stuff that my anime did worse. So
Incorrect.
You know,
They
like
did
90%
different
of
things.
like 90% of the time, Symphogear is just doing worse.
Not true. Simply false.
Categorically true.
Okay. The only other thing that I had was that the Path of Radiance emulation conversation,
Oh God.
Rap God, was that the fact, like, just in general, the like 90s, early 2000s, JRPG or tactical type franchises, there's just so many of them, and it's so cool. If you had a hyperbolic time chamber, you would probably spend like 10,000 years in there just playing all the JRPGs. And also, it's really sad to me that like a lot of that stuff, like especially like like PCX, and I think that's the one, or PC98, and a lot of the like Famicom, like it's just so sad that a lot of that like old stuff is lost. Like there's a lot of that we did get, but there's a lot of it that's lost, and that makes me sad.
True,
Yeah.
true.
Um,
See, the only PC
so
98 games
I
that I
have
would
a
ever care
list.
about are Toho games, and those are very well preserved.
I have a list of all of
Yeah.
them, by the way, up to Fire Emblem Fates. I have a list of every single one of those TRPGs saved in a Google Drive. And I have attempted to play most of the series, and like frankly, a lot of them aren't good. If you really want to see the bulk of it, it starts in about, let's see here, in about 96, and it runs through about the mid 2000s up to about 2007, 2010, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, up to about like 2010. I mean, most of them are available if you're willing to simulate or emulate.
Well, I mean, there are some that are definitely like lost, but even if some of them are in a sense preserved, there's also like the fact that a lot of them just are very inaccessible through the barriers as well. I mean, like you can totally do it if you like really put effort into it.
Yeah, a
But
surprising number of them have never been translated. I was waiting on like
translation's also a
a
big one,
Sakura Wars
definitely.
translation for like 3 years. I think we finally got one last year. I mean, luckily for us, the fans are a bunch of fucking champs, dude. Um,
Yeah, fans definitely save pretty much everything about like the Japanese like antiquity issue. Like fans just go crazy for Japanese shit and
yeah,
like
I have
do all that
gotten to
stuff.
play, probably one or two games out of every one of these that actually got series. Um, and the other ones, they're some of them are still out there. A good number of them surprisingly have translations. So like for example, I've got to play Langrisser. I've gotten to play Ogre Battle. I've gotten to play Growlancer. I've gotten to play, and sometimes I've just played games where there is no translation. But surprisingly, there are more games that have gotten a fan's translation than you would think. And if you're willing to emulate,
Yeah.
most of them are still playable because most of them came out on hardware that is better emulated than the GameCube.
Okay.
If you, it's really funny because I do have a deep appreciation for them, but I'm also kind of a hypocrite because I haven't played that many of them myself. Like the JRPG I've probably put the most time into is like fucking Custom Robo, and that's using a very loose definition of the term JRPG. So
I mean,
yeah,
they're not exactly, they're okay. If we want to be specific, in Japan, they're known as SRPGs, simulation RPGs, not strategy RPG as you might think. But essentially, like, because it's because the goal of the first one from the genre are meant to combine the gameplay of like Nobunaga's ambition with like your typical JRPG. If we're gonna
yeah.
talk about like a history,
I just want someone to play Wild Arms and then tell me if it's good so that I can play Wild Arms.
Wait, what is Wild Arms?
Wild
Hold on, I'm gonna
Arms
Google it.
is
I
a
think I've heard that
JRPG.
Wild Arms is good, but
It's a JRPG series that was at first uh, in large part directed and made by Kaneko Akifumi, which of course is
which is the writer
Symphogear Man.
of Symphogear.
Yeah.
Like the
So
main
I just-
creative
I just
force of
opened-
Symphogear. I think if
Yeah.
I'd have to say
him
after I
and,
come back to it.
Him and Agematsu Noriyasu,
Yeah.
which is the music guy of
Yeah.
Symphogear.
I'm gonna move the because I found the cover of the PlayStation game on Google. I'm just gonna move it over the recording. It's literally the most 90s like Japanese thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I think I'm looking at the same
so,
image.
yeah.
It's pretty based.
It's pretty based.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Miki. Just going away from video games here for a bit. I'm just curious because I immediately got known as Symphogear guy, and I'm curious if you immediately got known as the Utena guy.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, okay,
I
because
became
that's
the
how I
people-
knew it.
I became the person that people pinged when they wanted to talk about Utena, which was
Right,
surprisingly rare until Digi released a video on it.
right.
Justifying my rage against the machine that is AnyTube. Hold on, I'm gonna go check on my laundry real quick.
Oh yeah, that's thing.
I will be back
Fuck.
in a minute and 30 seconds.
All right,
Okay.
you got a timer. So yeah, Wild Arms always had looked really based to me, of course, because Symphogear. And I know that Symphogear is full of Wild Arm references. Obviously, in its music, like it's with all the fucking Western influences.
Yeah.
in the background
Yeah.
music and in Hibiki's songs sometimes, and it's just full of it. And yeah, Wild Arms is like a Final Fantasy, but it's a Western, like a
You know what's something you know what's
I
Symphogear?
think
The fact
my
that, the
only
fact,
experience. I'm back, by the way. I think my only experience of Wild Arms was like an X-Play review of Wild Arms 3 or 4.
My only experience of Wild Arms is hearing the fucking theme song, which is absolutely goated. Now go ahead, Edubs.
what I was gonna say was the fact that this has links with Symphogear is making me think that I forgot the guy's name, but whatever his name
Kaneko.
is, Kaneko. That guy, when he was a fucking teenager, and even probably as an adult, that guy was probably like a hardcore tuning.
Oh yeah,
Probably
no
like
doubt,
super hard.
no fucking doubt. I don't know how old he is. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know how old he is. We don't know if it's his real name. We don't know his gender.
All we know
we
is
don't know
that he
anything.
is a
Dude.
classic otaku, like my boy, fucking Shozo Kaga, who all those years ago
Dude,
Okay. So we're gonna circle around to Fire Emblem for like 30 seconds. All those years ago, the original Fire Emblem game was designed as a doujin game. It was meant to be released independently of Intelligent Systems and independently of Nintendo. But basically, Gunpei Yokoi heard of it and was like, "Wait, yo, let's just actually make this a fucking game and make some
capitalism
money."
happened? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Capitalism happened?
Well, Gunpei Yokoi was like one of like the biggest like hardware designers for Nintendo, and he was also a producer.
Yeah.
But essentially, this is the guy who designed the Game Boy.
So
He designed the Game Boy?
Yes.
yeah, Kaneko.
That's insane.
We just know he goes as a robot online. That's his image.
Dude, how fucking funny is it? I love the type of like weird personalities that fucking like just Japanese society produces. Like fucking I pre-purchased Near Replicant for the PC today, so we can I can just throw out Yoko Taro, just a complete fucking weirdo, walks around with a fucking mask on his head, like a big fucking Near mask on his head like all the time. In any public appearance, it's just fucking amazing.
Well, like
Oh, never mind. I do know.
like
I
an
do know
actual,
Kaneko's age.
I
He's born in
actual-
1970. He's 51. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, so was Yoko Taro. I wonder when Shozo Kaga was born. Probably like 1968 or something. Anyways, born 1950. Jeez, he's fucking old. In any case, like I think there's a thing about like being okay. So like Japanese society is like hypercritical and hyper like anti-individualistic. That I think like it's so much like if you're a person that makes stuff that's like culturally out there, And this is as to my theory of like VTubers, it plays into it that like there is something about like disassociating something with your face and your name that is so like freeing to your average Japanese creator.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That like
I mean, it's not for nothing that a lot of their work are also about that in a lot of ways.
yeah.
I mean, we know that Japanese people love anonymity because, I mean, 2chan famously is like really hardcore, and it kind of inspired a lot of the 4chan stuff because people just, when people have anonymity, they just go fucking insane.
Yeah. But I think
yeah.
that's
It's the big otaku fantasy of being able to be who you want to be, and no one will judge you for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also just be yourself and be unapologetic about it for a long enough time where people are just like, yeah, whatever. This is who
be yourself.
But you have to
being who you want to be is being yourself.
You have to be an asshole from the start. You have to be like on the level of like, Ikuhara, fuck you, I'm making episode 33 of Utena suffer.
I'm not making an anime unless you give me full creative control on it.
I will fuck off to America for 20 fucking years until I am allowed to make this series about fucking 95 or 16 years, I guess, if we're going to be specific.
I can't wait for Kaneko's next thing. I wonder what it's going to be. I wonder if it's going to be an anime or a game or anything.
Yeah, I'm excited for whatever Kaneko does next.
It's a VR game.
It's a VR game about waifus. Perfect.
No, I doubt that. That's not his type thing.
I don't know. I've seen some gifs of Japanese innovation.
It's a VR gacha
That's all
game.
I'll say in that matter.
It's a VR gacha game. There we are. I called it.
It's a VR
Symphogear
gotcha.
Symphogear
sex simulator.
Symphogear VR
He's done
Unlimited.
with Symphogear.
There we are.
He's done with Symphogear. He's not making anymore. If they want to milk the franchise, he'll let them, but he won't do
No,
anything.
if they want to milk the franchise, they'll call up fucking Arxis and they'll make a fighting game. Goddamn.
Yes, please.
Symphogear
Where's my 2D
SRPG
Symphogear Fire
designed
Emblem?
by Maeda.
No.
Wait, Miki, hold up, Will, imagine in like 2022, the year is 2022, okay? You go online, right? And you go on YouTube. The very first thing, the very first thing recommended to you, Will, is it's like Symphogear fighting game announced, and you're like, whoa, and you click the trailer, and the first thing you see is like a fucking 3D like arena fighter, dude. And it looks like fucking garbage, bro, and it's a Symphogear 3D or fucking arena fighter. Dude, come on. I'm fucking imagine it, bro.
Kohei Maeda Symphogear TRPG. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be terrible.
Okay, you weren't talking about a visual novel by Jun Maeda.
No, I was talking about Kohei Maeda, the director of Fire Emblem Fates, Fire Emblem Awakening, New Mystery of the Emblem, and Shadow Dragon.
Okay.
The fucking scum of Fire Emblem. Granted,
Yeah.
he did also write Blazing Blade, and he did some scenario writing on 8 maybe. So like he's not incompetent with characters. I will give him that.
Will has thought about video games for longer than 1 hour in a day, and his brain is just melting.
Correct.
Slowly pooling at the bottom of his feet.
Yes.
He's returning to monkey.
And funny thing, my friends are currently waiting for me to do a Civilization 5 games, which will kill me.
Yo, Will, we should just stream.
This is the last time you
playthrough.
hear of me.
We should have you play like Tearing Saga, and we'll stream that at some point.
Yeah. When I move and get a new PC.
Okay.
When are you moving? Wait,
I'm
what?
moving this year for sure.
Granted, Will, it is
Whoa.
a PS1 game, so it's not too bad emulation wise.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just want
Luckily.
Is
to
my boy getting his pad?
what
Are you getting a pad, my guy?
pad?
Yeah. It's like American slang for like a place, a crib, a home.
Oh, Will,
Yeah,
Will,
yeah,
Will,
yeah,
sham marriage to get me Canadian citizenship. I'll move in with you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
Will
yeah.
already has like 5 sham marriages going on, all right? So
True. I'm sorry. I'm just too empathetic with everyone.
Will's bringing on the Mormon influence into Canada with his polyamory, and the government's going to be investigating him soon. He's going to be the biggest gay polygamist that's ever existed in
Hell
Canada.
yeah, dude. Gotta
I'll
represent
establish a
not
law
only
where-
the gay community but all those polycules.
See, I'm a trained socialist, okay? But I'm not only a trained socialist, I'm also a love socialist, and so I will establish a law when I become Prime Minister of Canada where everywhere there's our railroad reaches is our country, and we love everyone, and
Hell
so
yeah.
I will be going in Tundy's backyard
Based.
by the railroad. Because
Just
he has a
based.
railroad in his backyard.
I dig this aesthetic that you're conjuring into my mind.
Yeah. Train socialism is like super based. I don't even know how it would work, but basically the whole entire society is based around the railroads, and so everything that everyone does is just to maintain and make new railroads and advance the technology of railroads and trains.
Will, have you ever seen those videos on YouTube of the guy that like hikes around in like fucking Eastern Europe and he just rides around on trains? Like it's illegal.
Yeah,
like, he
yeah,
hops
I've
onto
seen a
them and
few,
just rides
yeah.
around places. Why don't you just go do that?
Yeah, I'll go all the way to fucking Chicago and by hopping on trains. I'm not
Yeah,
even sure if
exactly.
that's possible. But I'm sure it is.
It might
Yeah.
be, maybe. Who knows?
I'm pretty sure like
Um,
the whole railway system's got to be interconnected. Yeah,
it was really funny
railroads.
on one of those videos because he was like he hopped on a train and then like while he was on the train he like looked at his phone. He was like, "Wait, hold on, I'm going to Russia. What? Hold up."
I mean, Russia's not a place you want to be, man.
Yeah.
Unless you're Slav.
Oh yeah, unless I'm out in Siberia visiting comrade.
Yeah, with his like fucking $20 a month apartment.
Yeah.
I wonder if Clayton would be okay in Russia, or if he would be like even worse because he's Ukrainian.
He's Ukrainian. I don't know what's the situation anymore. They probably hate Russia.
They'd probably send him to the gulag or
Yeah.
something.
I mean, it's a good thing Comrade is
You
already
tell us, Clayton.
Comrade is already out in the gulag. So,
Correct. Yeah. I'm sure Novosibirsk was a gulag at first.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything we want to talk about? Anything else in particular?
Let me see. Don't we have some like just questions that we can level at Miki before we go?
Um.
I'm sure we have some. What do you think about Kodo, Miki? What do you think about Kodo?
Kodo is based.
True.
Kodo is big.
All right. You
He's
passed
like
the test.
he's like the like magical girl mascot of every server he's on.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Kodo as a magical girl, mostly because
No,
I
no,
can't
no,
imagine
he's the
magical
mascot.
girls
He's like
defending
Cube.
Hitler. So, true. Yeah, that's a good analogy. He's like a Cube figure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hyper utilitarian.
Yeah, there we are.
No empathy. Only.
Cubo-
I don't even know what Kodo does.
Just he's like QB, except he will except he'll randomly talk about how like Hitler like defended his homeland or something.
And he'll randomly flip his opinion on Symphogear twice a day.
Yeah, and he'll be like,
I swear to
"This is
God.
what a gamer's looks like."
I swear to God, every morning I wake up and I just see a message from Kodo in the anime chat. Well, I realized that this and that happened in Japan yesterday, and so that means Symphogear is cringe. And then the next morning,
Wait, what?
and then the next morning, well, last night I saw that this person talked about Precure in that way, and how it's a franchise, and so it's bad, and so Symphogear is bad. And then the next day is gonna be the opposite. It's gonna be, oh, I think Will is right actually. Symphogear, it's like it has empathy. So yeah, I think Symphogear is cool.
Fucking, I'm just like, I'm just looking at fucking Kodo. If Jew is a religion, does that mean I can go be a Jew even though I'm Chinese?
Sorry
I
about
never
that.
heard that one.
I feel like I just missed a zinger. I have to mute my audio
Yeah.
for like the past.
You definitely missed a zinger. You
Yeah.
missed a Kodo quote.
I have to scrub my audio
Um,
because my roommates were shouting for like the past 5 minutes.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Here, I'll lighten the mood. Fucking Kodo today at 10:46 a.m. Your eye has wide AOE. I'm not. You probably has a wide eye.
Okay, I think we're done here. Are we?
Are we
Okay.
done?
I mean,
love you,
I have a
Kodo.
civilization game.
Did you not
happening.
have more questions for me? I got one question.
How based are you?
I'm like
I'll answer for you.
okay.
You're-
I'm like
you're-
the Symphogear submersible base. Okay, so that's how based I am. There we are.
Listen, I
Holy
will
shit,
answer
that's
for
really
you.
based.
No matter what you just said, you never watched XB, so it cancels out. I'm sorry.
My God, there we are. Well, I mean, granted, I just haven't watched XV because I know that we're gonna watch it as a part of the podcast, and that
Yeah.
it'll be more
right.
entertaining. I will have more entertaining takes if it is not only fresh, but like I've watched it for the first time, and then the second time, and the third time in that same week.
Miki, throw out a recommendation on who you think we should get on here next besides
It's going to be Njard.
Wada.
Wait, besides Wada?
Okay, and besides Njard and Njard.
Besides
who
Wada and Yard. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you took away like my two prime picks, and you just had Tangelo, so it'd probably be a mistake to have Tangelo again.
It's never a mistake to have Tangelo.
Actually, yeah, this is true. Just have Tangelo every time for like months. There we are. That's the recommendation. All Tangelo all the time. I'm jumping on that train.
we gotta give some other people the spotlight though.
I want to have Kikoman on.
Kiko Man. I want to have Sprocket too.
All right. Let's see here. I'm looking
And see, I would
through
talk
the
to other
roster
people,
of
but
multiple servers.
You can also like I said, you can also do Nyardcord. This is like
I don't know.
this podcast isn't just for digicord specifically, it's the digicord universe.
So here is I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of not the obvious ones. So like Tangelo and Wada and Yard, or like Thundy, because just having Thundy to give Thundy takes would be entertaining. I'm sorry, Thundy, for mentioning Thundy takes, but they're a real fucking thing.
They are in fact a real.
you know what?
fucking
They're a
thing.
real fucking thing, and they're super fucking based.
They're pretty
Sometimes.
fucking based.
Sometimes they're very not based though. It's just sometimes.
Okay. It could be interesting to have either. All right. either Timbits, Coco, or Endless on for an episode.
Oh, Endless. True. I'd have Endless.
Those are my.
I haven't actually talked much to Endless, so that might be.
Those are my three picks for people who could be good on a digicord radio episode.
I agree.
Based.
Okay.
Because each
All
of
right,
them
we'll
have
take
experienced
them
a
into
good
consideration.
subsection of history of digicord. It'll probably have interesting stuff to
Oh,
say.
we have to get Howard on. Shit!
Oh, God,
yes.
no,
Yes,
please.
the Howard episode.
Please, God.
He expressed the desire to be on.
I mean,
All right, here's what I'm gonna do though. Here's one thing I am gonna throw out.
Here. Have me on the Howard episode. We'll just talk about VNs and anime.
Oh no!
So I think we can very much take inspiration from Joe Rogan's podcasts with Alex Jones. So when we do get Howard on, we'll just make it like 5 fucking hours, and we'll have like Howard and somebody else.
Yeah, and
We'll just bounce shit off of him for like 5
let's
fucking
just
hours. and we'll
just let
talk-
Howard
Howard and Tangelo. That's my request.
Yes, that sounds based. That does sound based.
Tangelo.
Yeah, okay, so I would talk to
has
other people.
Tangelo has the highest resistance to Howard.
Yeah.
So that is
See-
why I recommend him, because I think Tangelo could be on with Howard for hours and make it entertaining. Because I feel like if you put like me or Nyard or like
Me.
Wada or anybody with like a reasonable sense of like social duty, they would have a rough time with Howard. But you put Tangelo on,
Yeah.
and Tangelo's duty is to the fucking entertainment of the cast, and he will
Yeah,
fucking.
me and Will will definitely also be kind of like that. So we need someone else. I feel like.
Yes. So my recommendation is Howard and Tangelo.
You know, I would talk to other people on this podcast from Digicord and Ourcord. Maybe, yeah, but I would have them to, they would need to express the desire to be on first, because, like, even though I would talk to people like, I don't know, Kodo, Shaheen, Clayton, Kendrick, or like, all these fucking people, Kiko, even, Ghost,
Kendrick, do you
I
mean Hub?
don't know.
Or,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah, that's yeah,
Hub?
yeah, Hub, yeah, Kendrick. I don't know how good either they would be on a podcast or if they even want to. So yeah, just tell me. Just tell me.
You
I'm
should
gonna-
get
I'm gonna-
endless.
I'm gonna
You should
throw
get
out-
endless Jess from Ohio Nation.
I'm gonna throw out this
Just-
this that would be
That
sick.
would be the most sick, although it would have nothing to do with digicord and everything to do with endless Jess.
Yeah, and also I had this idea to throw out here. What if we had Hub and like Cap at the same time?
Oh yeah,
Or
Cap.
somebody
I do
along
want to
those
have
lines.
Cap.
Well, I'm saying we could have Cap as a solo too. That would definitely be sick. But we could also have Cap and Hub at the same time.
Why those
Yeah.
two?
Somebody like that is close with Hub, because I'm also close with Hub.
Okay.
But I'm saying we could have somebody
All right,
else.
that's fair enough.
We would all be.
We
vibing.
gotta
You know what I mean?
we gotta wrap up now.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Fair.
Come listen to the next episode of the Symphogear cast over on my channel, Miki's Stopwatch. You can find it by searching for Untitled Miki Cast. Since unlike these guys who managed to find a title in the first episode, I still don't have a title for my show, and I'm forging forward anyways, even though I am technically on 10 episodes of that goddamn show. That's my plug.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Symphogear
as-
GX, so watch it. I'm
Hell
gonna be
yeah,
on it.
Symphogear Giant Robo Edition.
Hold determination fist. Believe in justice. Fist.
Yes,
really
it's
hard.
a
Okay,
determination to fist. There we are.
correct.
I will do my usual outro. Play fighting games on Miki's behalf. Watch Utena.
Play
which I should
Fire
also
Emblem.
do.
Play Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War.
Also play Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War, but most importantly, play fighting games.
Watch Symphogear.
And also
何それ
watch Symphogear. Have a
Listen
great
to
day.
Proto Man. Yeet.